has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
And we are back, Ferrall, Coast to Coast, here on a Wednesday. Carver High and Joe Lisi in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. Big hour ahead. We'll start Coast to Coast Golf Wednesdays with Cam Stewart this hour with the Amex in La Quinta as the tour moves to California this weekend. Final hour, we'll do that with Keith Stewart as well. We have Davis Maddock with the Lions Share this hour, so plenty to do as we move along here. Of course, every Tuesday and Wednesday you get the extended version of the very popular SportsGrid radio show, Carver and Lisi, with myself and the encyclopedia of college football, the one, the only, go for the two, Joe Lisi. Hi, Joe. How you doing here today? Welcome to our
Doing well, Carver. How are you? This is what it's all about. NFL playoffs on the horizon, baby. Nothing better than this.
This is what it's all about. I'm going to finish a couple more playoff things with you. Then I want to get into some of the coaching stuff because a lot more rumors swirling, a lot more teams with interviews, got guys being introduced, plenty happening, that's for sure. Let me now look, we usually we have some fun here once in a while on Coast to Coast. This is another one, Joe, that has clearly made the rounds around the internet the past 24 hours, but it's too good for us to not at least give it a little twirl here on C2C. So Todd Bowles talking yesterday, getting ready for the Lions coming up on Sunday. Big trip to Detroit for the Bucs, Joe. We talk a lot about weather. You shouldn't have to in this game. Detroit plays in a dome. Or do they, Joe? Let's find out.
Coach, looking forward towards Detroit. The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams.
Look at Todd.
Today it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we tend to drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome. I don't.
Todd's trying not to get rid of business.
Nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds getting off the bus going under the thing, so we'll be okay.
Now, Joe, you know a lot of other guys probably would have handled that a little bit differently. Give Todd some credit there. He didn't completely, give her the business. First off, we welcome our radio affiliates, Ferrall Coast to Coast, on a Wednesday. Carver High and Joe for Scotty, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159, and Sports Byline. Two things here, Joe. Number one, look, you got to know what's going on when you walk in the room. The problem when you get to the playoffs, Joe, and you get even just winning, one game, two games, as you get closer and closer to the Super Bowl, you have more and more people who start showing up at press conferences and hanging around the team who do not cover the team all year, do not cover football all year. It becomes a story in the city. It becomes a live an entertainment story. It becomes so you have people, Joe, that walk in there now. The Bucs win last week. This is somebody obviously local in Tampa. And, unfortunately, they got no idea Detroit's got a dome. I mean, that's a bad one. You can't do that, Joe. You can't have it.
You don't do any recon? You don't do any research?
No recon. No recon.
Nothing.
Send them right in.
Telescope there, like breaking down schematics? I mean, what do you want me to say? I have no answer for you. I mean, really.
There's no answer for it, Joe. It's just
people get mad at me for calling out gutless and all this. I know what I'm talking about 90% of the time, at least.
90%.
That other 90%.
90% of the time. Lions minus 6.5. Bucs 48 and a half.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to sugarcoat this in any capacity. I'll give credit where credit is due. Baker Mayfield deserves to be at least one of the two players in terms of comeback player of the year. Stepped up, led this team, erased all his critics, deserves to be the face of the franchise for the next 2 or 3 seasons moving forward, has elevated the team. The defense has come around, and Todd Bowles has done a pretty good job in terms of at least getting his team prepared for playoff type of situation, and that victory over Philadelphia was a dominant effort at home. They don't match up all that great against Detroit. I think they could be in it for a half. I lean to the Lions, but I'll tell you this, I'm not backing down. I've told you this already. There is no shot this game trends under the 48.5. This is a Joe Lisi catalytic converter special. Double diamond crypto play. We're altering this sizzle me this, Carver, over the 48.5. High is 60. There is no shot this game goes under the total. No shot.
No shot?
No shot.
No
Zero.
shot.
99.9.
I'm nervous about the sizzle plays after last night. You might want to take the sizzle play off. You might want to go back to you know what you should do, Joe, like you say all the time? Go back to the bell cows here in terms of what you call these things. Crypto plays, I'd leave the sizzle part out of it after what Westbrook did to you.
This is a hammer special. Philly Club special. I did it with Buffalo. I'm going to do it with the over. The over in Tampa Bay, Detroit sails through. This has 63 points written all over it.
Wow. How about that? A little 43-20 Lion win for Joe,
yes,
huh?
There you go. 43-27. Now let's make it good.
43-27 Lions.
This. Evans 100 plus. Rashad White 60 plus receiving.
Oh, this is gonna be one of those everybody eats. This is an everybody eats game. Everybody eats game.
If you're playing them, you'll love this.
You're
the Golden Corral special.
The Golden Corral special.
Yeah, that's it.
Two
plates.
Super Bowl MVP line movement here. Of course, they opened this market last week, Joe, when the playoffs started. And I like these, Joe, because you can get guys off of these favorites at pretty good prices, especially if you think the Niners and the Ravens are going to win. Lamar now down to plus 325, Purdy to 375, Allen from 8 to 6, Mahomes from 10 to 7. Now, McCaffrey's the one for me, Joe. Like, if you think the Niners are going to get there and get their 2 wins and get themselves to Vegas, and they're whatever, I think I play there, they're like plus 210 or plus 195, whatever they are to win the Super Bowl right now. I think McCaffrey's the guy. And now it was 10 last week. I thought it was good. Now it's down to 8. It's only going to get lower and lower, Joe. I think that's the one out of this whole list of Super Bowl MVP futures. That's the one that I would like to tuck in the pocket.
I like to tuck in the pocket your big burly quarterback at 6-1.
Well,
huh?
That's fine.
How about that? I can't talk about the Bills on your watch.
Look, you're right about this aspect. If you think the Bills are going to win it all, I don't see any scenario that he's not the MVP of the Super Bowl if they win. I don't see any scenario. So I don't think there's another guy you play on the Bills than him. So if the Bills are plus 475 right now, or whatever it is, plus 500 for the Super Bowl, you're getting yourself a little extra there on that. I see the gap between where the Niners are on the Super Bowl board and where McCaffrey is for the MVP. That gap is so wide, Joe, that's just, it kind of just calling to me that's one that I want to be involved with. All right, we'll come back and we will start Coast to Coast Golf Wednesdays, the Amex in La Quinta. Good field as well. Cam Stewart. Next, we give you the outrights, the top 10s and 20s, the first round leader bombs. We're back after this.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, he's a little bit more over money, but he's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, This is going to be the storyline, and I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They, stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And we are back, Ferrall, Coast to Coast on a Wednesday. Carver High in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. Every Wednesday is Golf Wednesdays on C2C because we got to get you ready for this weekend's PGA Tour event. We are done with Hawaii. We now come back to the States. The Amex, the American Express Championship, formerly the Desert Classic, etc. 3 courses in La Quinta, California. Cam Stewart is with us every week. We do the outrights, the top 10s, 20s, 40s, the first-round leader bombs, all of it. Cam, good to see you as always, my man.
Carver, always a pleasure, buddy. And what can you say about me and you? Our name should be close, so that only counts in hand grenades, man. Right? I'm telling you, I had Ben on at 40 last week. I'm thinking this guy's the best ball striker on Sunday. Let's miss another 5-footer. Let's miss a 4-footer in the playoff. Golf betting can be really, really tough. And Carver, it was a 3-man playoff, too. If there was just, if one of these guys goes in there, I could saw it off and go, hey, we're going to make a little bit of money. But I'm like, I don't know who's going to win this thing. But you were close. I've been close. And, man, this sport can really, it can get you.
Yeah, we've had a couple seconds here the last few weeks. I tailed you with Ben Ann along with my other picks last week. So I was sitting there. I got him at 30. You had the 40. And, what bothered me the most about that finish, Cam, was, both those other guys hit these shots like Grayson Murray, on the 18th hole and then on the playoff hole, hit tee shots where it looked like he was on the other hole. And then somehow you walk up to it and he got these crazy bounces and got in a really good spot. And then Bradley hits the hospitality tent with his second shot on the playoff hole. And of course they drop him, Cam, right in front of it. That ball was so far away from the green. But because the dopey tent was there, they get these amazing drops in these spots. Oh, and it just bothers the hell out of you. And then
I've been talking to people about this. We have to change this. What do we do? The thing is, you can't just go, okay, it hit the hospitality tent, so we're going to give you and usually have an up and down chip. You have to look at the camera angle. They have to come up with a fair result to at least put it 20 or 30 yards. And in the rough, these guys are getting preferred lies. It's like, what the hell's going on? And my guy hits a great chip. It's actually not fair. That's the whole problem with it. It needs to be corrected because guys will just hit hospitality tents going, I get relief. Who cares?
It's so true, Cam. It is so true. But listen, our guy stuck it to under 4 feet, and he couldn't hit the putt. So that's just, that's just you got that going for us as well. Of course, 3 courses here this weekend, different format, Cam. They will all the golfers will play each of the 3 courses Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then the cut, and then they will turn around and finish at the stadium course on Sunday for the final round. The La Quinta Country Club, the Nicklaus Tournament course, and the Pitai Stadium course is where they will play. Rahm is the defending champion. You don't have to worry about him because he ain't going to be there, Cam. Rahm ain't going to be there this week. He's done, chopped. Here is there, though. Scotty Scheffler making an appearance here at the Amex this year. Patrick Cantley, Xander Schauffele, Sungjae Im in the house. Justin Thomas, we're seeing him for the first time this year. He was not in Hawaii. The Postman has been delivering as well. He is on that leaderboard too. A pretty decent field, Cam, for a non-elevated event.
I got to be honest with you, Carver, this is an awesome field, and there's a lot of guys. We have a lot of question marks. What's Justin Thomas going to do? I remember the tweets. He goes, enjoy Hawaii, guys. I'm coming back and working harder than ever to get back into it. He doesn't like being not in the top 70. It's embarrassing for him. We got a lot of other guys with success. Schauffele almost won this tournament before. He needs to pick it up. Cantley has the game here. It's going to be fantastic. And even with Scotty, Scotty Scheffler, this guy can have his B game and win tournaments. So it's tough. That's the one thing. Maybe we start seeing the results. If this guy wins again, we're going to have to start betting him every week at 5 to 6 to 1, like the old Tiger Woods days.
Yeah, we might have to. I will not be, of course, taking him as the chalk for the outright this week, Cam. You know that I'm not going to go near it. Here is who I am going to go after for the outrights in La Quinta. Sungjae Im, 20 to 1. That's as high as I'm going to go here up on the board. His game has looked pretty good to start things off. We're going to take our shot there. The Postman, great Hawaii for him, Cam. Both spots, Posted played great. 30 to 1 there. Finau has some pretty decent history here at the Amex. I'm going to take him at 35 to 1. Jason Day at 40 to 1. Now, Ricky Fowler hasn't played well. This is one of those ones, Cam, where, you're making me buy the price here. Fowler has been 35, 40, 45. You're going to drop him down to 70 here? All right, I'll bite. You got me. And Keith Mitchell at 90 to 1 is one of those guys.
Love it.
There's certain guys, Cam, who, for whatever reason, they play well on this Western swing in January and February. Really don't anywhere else, but they play well on the West Coast golf. Keith Mitchell seems to be one of those guys. I'm on him at 90 to 1.
Good call. No, and I'll use an analogy. So you're getting Ricky Fowler at 70, yet Zalatoris is 110. Zalatoris can't hit a golf ball right now. And you learned that last week. This guy has got to get back into form. And Ricky Fowler can win this tournament at 70 to 1. That's the difference. He can catch fire for 4 days. So we will see, Carver. I like your picks. You know what? We're reading each other's mail, and I love your Finau and Im picks too. I can't pick exactly the same guys, but I want to. I'm going to go with the Postman. He's always delivering right now. You want to talk top 5 machine? This guy's going to win, and if me and Carver aren't on him, we're going to go nuts. Same with Eric Cole. He's an addiction now. I take him every week. Carver, he must be played top 20s. This guy is just a top 20 every single week. It's a lock, and the price is too big. Jason Day, I agree with you. Here's my prediction. Jason Day will be the comeback player of the year, and he'll win multiple tournaments this year. That's what I'm saying. Ashke Batia, I love this kid. California kid, 60 to 1. Keith Mitchell, you got it. I'm a wild party. Might as well go for a soda at 90 to 1. And Justin Suh, he let me down like Zalatoris, but the USC product playing in California, he wasn't ready for Hawaii golf. He better be ready for his hometown state. 110. Let's blow it up.
We love taking these Cali guys, Cam, out on the West Coast. Of course, we'll get Homa in the mix in a couple weeks as well. We know how great he plays out there, too. Cantlay is one of these guys as well. Top 10 for me with him at plus 120. I will never play him to win, but I'll play him for the T20. Minwoo Lee, we see him for the first time this year, plus 270 for a top 10. Siwoo Kim has won this event before. I'll go with the top 20 at plus 210. How about Taylor Pendrith, Cam? Nice. Have you seen what this guy's done lately? His last 5 starts, 3rd, 15th, 8th, 10th, cut. He's been playing some really good golf. I'll take him for the T20 at plus 280. Adam Shank, T20 at plus 300. Hoagie Sandwich for a T40 at plus 140. And a Cali guy. How about Charlie Hoffman for the T40 at plus 240? Always shows up out on the West Coast.
Waste Management's finest, Charlie Hoffman. Love the green glove at the Waste Management. You know what, Carver? We'll tell the listeners and viewers this, guys. I'm telling you, and Carver knows. We sprinkle on wins, but top 10 and 20 markets are where we're going to make our money. We did it last week, and it saves the tournament. That's what I'm talking about. One guy wins, so I'm smashing top 20s and less like that. We have to do that. You have to distribute your units. Even money for top 20. I love your pick, Carver. I think he can win this tournament. We're going to go with Cole plus 210. I told you every week he's a top 20 guy. Schauffele is my top 10 guy at plus 143rd last year. And I got a couple of bombs for you. First of all, I love your Finau pick. I'm going to hit him top 20. Patton Kazire plus 250, and my boy Matt Wallace plus 160 for a top 40.
Matt Wallace has been good to you, Cam. The first round leader bombs. Now remember, this is tricky. We have 3 sets of first round leaders, 3 courses. I'm going to give you a couple from each one, Cam. Later on, I'm probably going to tweet out a more extended version. On the La Quinta, Aaron Rai at 35-1, Maverick McNeely at 50-1, Cali Kid. Nicholas Course, Mitchell at 25-1, Matthew Naismith 45-1, and at the Stadium Course, Mark put the Hubbard in the cupboard at 30-1, and we always roll 7s with Johnny Vegas for first round leaders, baby. We don't stay away from him. 40-1 on the Stadium Course.
I love it, Carver. Actually, I was looking at a lot of those guys. Watch out for Taylor Montgomery. He was a Thursday Warrior last week. He's coming out of the gate hot. Watch out for him. I'm going to bet him first round leader. And Tony Finau, I like what I saw out of him. I would not be shocked if he had the first round lead as well. Those are guys I'm looking at.
Yeah, and like we said, Cam, this is a tough one because there's only be 1 round left once we get to the cut. That's going to be on Sunday. So keep that in mind when you're betting these T10s, 20s, when you're betting these matchups. It's going to be a lot different. Next week, Cam, I will see you for the Farmers Insurance. Back to Torrey Pines we go next week as we start to get into some of the big-time courses and big-time events on the tour. Let's cash them this weekend,
Seriously.
Cam. Let's go.
I'm ready, Carver. I know. I need some money after the debacles the last 2 weeks. Give us a winner. Come on.
Let's go. We'll see Cam tonight on Sports Rage Late Night. Coast to coast. We're back after this.
The Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
And the New York Knicks has one of the easiest schedules the rest of the way. If you look at a site like Tankathon, the Knicks have right now the 20th easiest schedule the rest of the way. Folks, they're 2.5 games behind Philadelphia. Philadelphia's starting to slip a little bit. I don't think the Knicks get to 3, but they should be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline, and I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman
The Early Line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts,
and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Ferrall,
backup quarterback.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Prime time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The brighter the lights, the bigger the stakes. Hunt or be hunted. Know your prey. This is a whole new jungle. This is The Lion's Share. Brought to you by BetMGM.
And we are back, Ferrall Coast to Coast, here on a Wednesday. Carver High in for Scotty on SportsGrid at SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us. BetMGM is getting ready for Big Game 58, only a couple of weeks away. And what are they doing for you? How about bet $5 and get $158 instantly? You got to download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up and deposit at least $5 into your newly created account. This is for new customers. Place a wager in the amount of at least $5 at standard odds price. Once you have placed a bet, you will receive $158 in bonus bets. Doesn't matter if your bet wins or loses. Regardless of the outcome of your wager, you got to use bonus code SG158. BetMGM getting you ready for Big Game 58. Go and get involved. It is time for the Lion's Share, brought to you by BetMGM. Every day, Davis Maddock, Fantasy Sports Today, with us on Coast to Coast as we get you set for the night. Before we get to the hoops, Davis, and we'll get to your picks, etc. I mean, you just heard, I know you got the juices flowed because you heard me and Cam talking about the golf. We've got the Amex this week. I mean, this is when you really start to feel it. They're out of Hawaii this week, Torrey Pines next week. We start to build towards some of the bigger events. You got to give me a pick for the Amex. What do you got for me, Davis?
But I can give you a couple because I mean, look, I love to bet golf. I really like to bet golf early. I like this, like the next for me, like until we get to the NFL draft. This is like peak golf betting for me because, like, look, I love golf. I love the NBA. I love all these other sports, but football is definitely my first love. It's, professionally what we do here at the network, what I'm focusing on most often. So I can just kind of give my full attention to golf right now. Like, I'm going to be able to wake up tomorrow morning, put it on down here in the office and just kind of filter in and out of it all day. And this event, I like these wacky events that they play where it's like, we don't even have Shot Tracker out here at some of these. Like, I tuned in and I guess this guy that I bet on had a really good round out at the stadium course. No idea how he did it. No, but he did. So I got two picks that I really like. The first one is Aaron Rye. You can get him with our friends over at BetMGM at 100-1. Pretty good price on him there. Definitely not a dude who knows how to putt at all. He has lost strokes putting in 10 straight tournaments, but he still has grinded out good results in those tournaments because he is one of the better approach players on tour. He has gained strokes on approach, not only every tournament, but every round consecutively for the last 20 rounds. Pretty impressive stuff there. I am ignoring the top of the board because, like, look, if I want to bet Scotty Scheffler, which, by the way, I think the price is fine. If all you want to do is log on and bet Scotty Scheffler like it's an NFL game, all right, I'm going to bet $100 on Scotty Scheffler. That's the only bet I'm making for the tournament. And either I'll win or I just won't be paying attention on Sunday. But I think there are a couple guys more towards the middle of the board who are, all right, depending on, exactly what price you're able to get them. I do like Siwoo Kim right around 55 to 60-1. I think he is pretty solid. And I like Cam Davis, the Australian, at 60-1 as well. This feels like a pretty good tournament to just kind of hit the middle of the board, 50 to 100-1, and just kind of embrace the weirdness of the three-course rotation.
It's been a tournament that has had a lot of long shots come in over the years. Not last year. Rahm won last year, but it has had long shots come in, including Siwoo Kim 2 or 3 years ago when he won this event. So I'm with you, Davis. I think that's a good part of the board to look at. All right, let's get to the hoops now and your picks for tonight with the Lion's Share, because we have a big schedule of hoops. Let's start in Cleveland, where the Bucks and the Cavs are going to get together. Bucks minus 3.5 right now. 237.5 is the total for this one.
Yeah, so there was definitely a time where I was pretty comfortable picking against the Bucks, just being like, they haven't really figured out the defense. Chris Middleton is not playing every single night. Well, the first thing is they got no one on their injury report right now. So the entire Bucks team off the injury report, they are good to go. That is not true of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They continue to try and struggle through the absence of Evan Mobley. And they have guys who are questionable like every single night. Like Garland is in, then he's out. Even some of their wing guys, have been like Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade have been listed as questionable as well. And then the other thing is, we finally are getting treated to the real Damian Lillard experience. He is now up to averaging over 25 points per game. He is now shooting, he was for a little while shooting under 30% on threes. He's now up to 35%. He is getting to the free throw line. Weirdly, Giannis is not having like a true, unbelievable, like knockdown every night Giannis performance. So weird for him. Like he really looked like early on, like he was going to be able to shoot 3-pointers, and he is not. He is now it's actually the lowest 3-pointers per game attempt of his career, but it doesn't even matter because Lillard has totally made up for it effectively. So we are going to be taking the Bucks against the Cavs tonight.
Next, we will go to Boston, where the Celtics 19-0 at home this year. They have not lost a game in Boston, and I don't know if that's going to change tonight when you have the Spurs at 7-32 coming into town. But, Davis, that's why we've got the numbers, baby. This was 16 this morning, now 15.5, 238.5 is the total.
Yes, 7-32, but 2 wins in their last 5 games. They really hung with the Bucks, 121-125 against the Bucks. They hung with the aforementioned Cleveland Cavaliers, losing by 2 there, and then they did get tossed by the Atlanta Hawks 2 nights ago on Monday night. But the biggest difference, and we were waiting for it, was basically, and there was actually a great article in The Athletic that was just published, I think like 3 days ago, about the team basically being like, you know what? Enough already. Wembanyama's just playing center. Like we tried it out at power forward and it was like, fine. And it was good for him to learn those skills. And really what they wanted him to do was they wanted him to just get comfortable taking 3-pointers, because ultimately that is his future in the NBA. Like he's going to need to be quite a good 3-point shooter. And he is taking 5 of them per game, but he's only shooting 29%. Not particularly great there. But now he's playing center. What has that resulted in? 26 points against the Hawks, 26 points against Charlotte, 16, 10, and 12, a triple-double against the Detroit Pistons, 24 against the Cavaliers, 27 against the Bucks. Did not play more than 27 minutes in any of those games. All of that is a long way of saying I think the market just has not quite caught up to the fact that the Spurs are actually playing their best lineups now. Now, are they going to beat the Celtics? Come on, no chance. Like, no chance. The Celtics are probably going to rest 3 of their guys and still win. But they've inserted Trey Jones into the starting lineup at point guard, which means Jeremy Sochan is not playing point guard anymore. And Wembanyama's playing center. So I think they can cover this number. Like, call this like a 10-point game, probably.
Yeah, the Celtics have a bunch of guys listed as questionable. Porzingis, Holiday, White. Like you said, whether they play or they don't play, they're going to get the job done one way or the other with the Spurs going on in town. The Mavericks are in Los Angeles against the Lakers tonight. Right now, Lakers minus 3.5, 243.5 is the total. I will tell you, Luka's missed the last 3 games, Davis. Now, he's listed as questionable for tonight. So it looks like this might be our best chance to possibly get Luka back into the lineup. LeBron's questionable every night, of course. Anthony Davis is probable, so we should be good on the Lakers side of things.
Yeah, honestly, Luka in or out, I think it's fine. I mean, obviously, you would love to have Luka in if you were taking this wager. And in fact, I think if he was conclusively ruled in, we might see, a point or two shift here. But the fact of the matter is, the Mavericks have been playing just like really good basketball, even without him there. So Grant Williams, for the first time the other day, like basically he had his first good game in a Mavericks jersey against the Pelicans the other night. That's big. They also got Derek Lively back from injury. That's been huge for them. Derek Lively is like the perfect center playing alongside either Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving. He never demands the ball. All he wants to do is set picks and run to the rim. Like, can't really be over. It's so funny. The Mavericks, they tanked last year and everyone hated them for it. And rightfully so. It was embarrassing to trade for Kyrie Irving and have Luka Doncic and tank. But they are the ones laughing now because they basically got the perfect guy that they needed for their system. And Derek Jones Jr. also is returning to the lineup. He has been listed as questionable or out for their last 3 games, but he is back now, listed as probable with this calf injury. So pretty much the whole rotation, other than Exum and Doncic, are going to be good to go, and we might even get Doncic in. But I just think the Mavericks are honestly the better team. The Lakers have a great defense, and they finally went back to their Jared Vanderbilt lineup, so they're better. They're great on defense, but they cannot put the biscuit in the basket. They got no shooters. They got Austin Reeves is like the only shooter on the whole team.
And he certainly is. 45 seconds. The Raptors are going to be very short-handed tonight now. Of course, they make the Siakam trade a couple hours ago. They're home for the Heat. They're catching 3.5. Seems like a good Heat spot for me, Davis, after another trade.
Yeah, great Heat spot, but they're pretty shorthanded too. Jaime Jaquez is not playing for them. I don't have a take on either side, but one thing I do love is I just hope Chris Boucher starts for the rest of the year for the Raptors. The guy is an absolute alien, one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. But if anything, I think you could bet the under there at 226 pretty comfortably.
I was going to say, guys who do play for the Raptors, we could maybe bet some overs because they're going to get a lot of burn with a short bench after a trade. Davis, tremendous job as always. We'll see you on Friday. It's Warren Sharp Thursday tomorrow here on Coast to Coast. See you Friday. Davis Maddock, let's cash for tonight, baby. The Lion's Share brought to you by BetMGM.
The Lion's Share, presented by BetMGM.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast on a Wednesday. Carver High and Joe Lisi in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody here with us. All right, Joe, I've got a couple of other things for you, NFL-wise. It's just some coaching stuff, lots of rumors, lots of guys going in. And this one I just saw like a second ago, and I know you like this. Not Riverboat Ron Rivera, who, of course, got chopped in Washington, and deservedly so, Joe, with the gutless performance that they had the last couple of years. I just saw an article, interview with him saying that he does want to keep coaching, doesn't care, but said he's open to not being the head guy. That's how bad he doesn't want to go away. He says he's willing to go be a DC, be a defensive coordinator, whatever, for another team. Now, I look at this way, Joe. That's actually kind of big because a lot of these guys are head coaches for a long time. They don't want to be assistants anymore. They don't want to go back and be in DCs, especially the guys who have coached as many years in the head spot as Rivera. Now, some guys, they get their 2 or 3 years, they get chopped. They got to go back and get back in the pool. They go be coordinators again. When you see guys coach for as long as Rivera has in the top spot, they usually find it beneath them to go back to being an assistant and go back to being a coordinator. That's very big for who gets these jobs, Joe, these younger guys potentially that get these jobs. Because say what you want about him, as long as he's not making the decisions, if you're a young guy as a head coach for a first time, you generally tend to like to have one of your assistants be someone who's been a head coach in the league, been around a long time in the league. So as much as we love to take our shots at not Riverboat Ron, I think he'd be a good potential defensive coordinator for one of these young coaches that gets one of these jobs.
No, absolutely. I think the United Football League is hiring coming March or April. His defense absolutely sucks.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
Chop him at the legs. Joe doesn't care. Chop him down.
I know I'm one of the older guys on the network and stuff like that, but Riverboat Ron could see the punches coming. He just can't get out of the way. He's in the corner with a standing 8 count. I could see if his defense was dominant. This defense was pathetic. No tackling, abused at the point of attack. And you want this guy to be a defensive coordinator. We're not talking about the Carolina Panthers when he had Cammy Cam at quarterback. Come on now. Washington's defense sucks. You want to roll this guy off the street to be a DC? Come on.
He says, quote,
league is hiring.
Quote, I have several opportunities right now, end quote, Rivera said.
I think that.
I just want to make sure it's the right one. Several opportunities for him.
Here we go.
So, not Riverboat Ron. Potentially.
Are we in a 4-3? Are we in a 3-4? I mean, the guy didn't even know his team was eliminated from playoff contention. Come on now. We're going to bring up this guy. Let's call him out for what it is.
Gerard Mayo, of course, is the new head coach in New England, in Foxborough. Of course, Belichick there for a very long time. Mayo drafted by the Patriots, played for Belichick, been an assistant there the last couple of years. The Patriot way, the Patriot culture. Is that going to change now that Mayo is in charge? Let's hear from him, Joe.
I want people around me that are going to question my ideas or question the way we have done things in the past. Because realistically, this game's a lot different than when I was drafted in 2008.
Yeah,
At the same time, that's why I try to spend so much time in developing young men and young women.
Yeah,
so they know. I don't want to teach them, what to think. I want to teach them how to think.
Yeah.
And once we get to that point,
Beautiful.
I think we can get back to where we need to be at the top. And
Great.
I'm an open book. I'm honored. I'm ready to go. And I'm excited to be the next head coach of the Patriots.
Yeah, there you go.
It was pretty interesting, Joe, that he did bring up in that clip there, things have changed a lot in this game since I was drafted.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a small indirect shot at the guy who you have been saying the game's passed him by, Belichick, the game's passed him by. Blah, blah, blah. So maybe that's a small little direct shot in his way. But I think it's a new day in Foxborough. He's going to do things his way. We've seen all these Belichick assistants go to these other places and try to do the Belichick way, the Patriot way, and it doesn't work out for them. I don't think that Mayo is going to do that, Joe. I think that this is going to be a much different scenario in Foxborough moving forward with him in charge.
Yeah, it has 4-13 written all over it. I mean, the Patriot. No, it's
Joe's throwing all the cold water today, man. Joe's throwing all the cold water today.
They care about. He's right. You think they care about the Super Bowls won in years past by Belichick and the Patriots?
What have you done for me now?
They take a TikTok. Hey, coach, how could you give me my brand? How do I make some coin on the outside? That's all they care about. Give me my numbers. They don't care about any team chemistry or any team goals. It's just me. That's it. That's all they care about. Unbelievable. This Patriot team is gutless. No playmakers on the outside. They have no speed. And I said it. Devontae Parker should be playing in the Arena League. And I had him in Miami. If that's your best weapon with Demario Douglas going up against Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, him, they're going to suck for about 4 or 5 years.
Wow. Look out. Joe all over everyone today. He's not leaving anyone behind here.
Look, there are good head coaches, and there are coaches that coach teams down. Bill Belichick
he hasn't coached anybody yet.
He was on that staff.
Okay. So we're not giving him a chance. It's done.
No.
What's done is done. Guilt by association. Chop.
Right.
You're already finished with him. You're out.
That's
4-13. We're playing the under 6.5 next year.
Yes.
We're on the under.
That's
under 6.5. Sell it.
I'll tell you who's next. McDaniel and my guy. Did you see that locker room speech? Terrible.
Oh, didn't exactly inspire everybody around him, Joe.
Yeah.
You didn't. You really wasn't as rah-rah, I think, as he was going for there. That's no. We talked yesterday about Belichick interviewing officially in Atlanta for the Falcon job. I was a little surprised, Joe, that they also interviewed Jim Harbaugh. So I think that this kind of speaks to the whole Arthur Blank wants to go big fish hunting here. Belichick and Harbaugh talks to both of them. Will he get either of them, though, Joe? That is the question.
Well, if you're asking me, I think he might get Belichick. I thought we had a sound clip. I was waiting for the sound clip there.
No, no sound clip.
I think it's Belichick just because, there's younger players there. I don't think Harbaugh wants to go there. Do you think Harbaugh wants to go to Atlanta?
Then why do you interview?
No, because you take the interview. I mean, you listen.
You take the interview if you're an assistant looking for a job. When you're as powerful as Jim Harbaugh is in the football world now, Joe, you pick who interviews you. You decide. I don't need to talk to everybody.
You don't listen to all offers? You don't listen to what offers?
He's not this like the Bengal OC or the Lion OC running around and interviewing at every single place. This is Jim Harbaugh, Joe. If he's interviewing there, he's considering going there. It's got to be a consideration.
They got no quarterback. Both of these guys coach a quarterback up over the previous 4 seasons.
Maybe he's got a plan for that. Maybe he's got a plan for the quarterback. There you go. Go get J.J. McCarthy in the first round. Go get another quarterback, Joe. Draft another one. It'll be all right. That's the thing. He wants to team up his guy. Get JJ in there. The Browns chopped offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, a couple of other assistants as well. So the Browns make the playoffs, not good enough. Chop them. The Titans are going to interview the Bengals OC, Brian Callahan, for a second time. Usually when you start seeing guys get the second round of interviews, that usually means they are very much in the mix there. So another guy, he'll get there off. Joe Burrow's going to get somebody else a job, Joe. This Brian Callahan. Joey Silk's going to get him a job somewhere.
Well, what's wrong with Callahan? I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's a good move by him. I mean, come on. I think that's pretty good for look, there's young coaches.
He'll be out within 3 years.
There's young coaches and coordinators that could step up. Look at what DeMeco Ryans has done. I mean, DeMeco Ryans was looked at like, not anything, and he's got his team in the divisional round of the playoffs right now. I mean, come on. Callahan is a nice little hire right now for them. So I think it's
just
a pretty
like him
good
because he's a Burrow guy. He's a Burrow guy. So that's why you're
so
anything with
saying,
Burrow. You chopped everybody else that we've talked about here in this spot. Chop, chop, chop. We get to this guy. Oh, he's a you know what he is? He's a great coach.
Well, where's Bieniemy? Let me ask you a question. Where's Bieniemy in all this mix? That's it? He coached himself out?
He's out.
Got no shot now,
finished.
right?
No shot.
Well,
Not
why
getting
can't
the job.
Bieniemy get a shot? Why can't he get a shot now?
I haven't seen him get one interview. I don't think he was in an interview for his own job in Washington. He's not even interviewing there. So I got no idea, Joe, why he can't get that. The Seahawks are looking for a new head coach as well. For the first time yesterday, General Manager John Schneider spoke to the media. Among the things he said, Joe, was there's no way around it. We underachieved this past year. He goes, we overachieved last year. That was when Joe had the over 5.5. We underachieved this year. We expected a lot more. What is he looking for in the next head coach?
What qualities are you going to prioritize as you look for a head coach?
That's it. Our culture, and then how are we evolving? Who's going to help us move to the next level, right? How are we going to, compete with everybody that we need to compete with and advance this organization moving forward?
That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. That guy's, is he drunk? Is he drunk? I mean,
that's
No, I'm serious. They overexceeded expectations. Carver, we talked about this on the radio side. They were supposed to be the worst football team in the NFL last year, right? Once Russ moved on. Pete Carroll did a fantastic job. He brought optimism. He recruited and drafted young players. He coached those young players up. Then all of a sudden they got drunk thinking that this team could win a Super Bowl when in essence they were in a rebuild and they were just a 500 football team. They did exactly what they were supposed to do because they have an aging quarterback in Geno Smith that is not, Tom Brady or Joe Burrow or any great elite quarterback, Lamar Jackson in the NFL. He's just pedestrian. So you tell me, Schneider, you really thought seriously in your sick mind that this team could win an NFC West title? He's crazy.
Underachieved, Joe. Underachieved. Now,
come on.
Look, that's one of those spots. You haven't heard any of these bigger names linked to there. I feel like that's going to be one, Joe, where you get the coordinator nobody's heard of before.
No.
Who's going to
go there? Vrabel.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
What? Why? That's a perfect for him.
I don't know. You haven't heard him attached to anywhere yet. You haven't heard him interview anywhere. You haven't heard anybody say that.
Such a good head coach.
I think that he is, but maybe we aren't hearing anything. Maybe he wants to step away for a year. Maybe he doesn't want to coach for a year. Maybe he wants to take a year off and we saw him last year. I mean, the guy looks so stressed out at the end of the year. Maybe he needs some time away from the game. Everybody's built differently, Joe. That's just kind of the way that it goes. We'll come back. Ferrall Coast to Coast on a Wednesday. Carver High and Joe in for Scotty. SportsGrid Radio. We keep rolling right after this.
quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They, stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast on a Wednesday. Carver High and Joe in for Scotty here on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. It is time for this day in Carver High history. Some good ones for Joe today. 1971, the Baltimore Colts beat the Cowboys 16-13 in Super Bowl V. Chuck Howley, the MVP in that one. Joe had the over, an unfortunate day for him. 1986, Tim Witherspoon beats Tony Tubb by majority decision, 15 rounds. The WBA heavyweight title. 1988, the Broncos beat the Browns 38-33 in the AFC Championship game that features the fumble by Ernest Biner. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Draw to Biner. Ernest Biner. Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my. Or have they? Let's wait for the official to unpile them. There's a war going on under that stack. There it is. Denver's ball at the 2-yard line.
That's terrible. Who was that? Bob Trumpy, and who was on the call?
What a miserable couple of years for Cleveland there, Joe. Yeah. They just could not get past Elway and the Broncos.
That was Bob Trumpy and.
I'd have to go back and check that.
Oh my, Jeremiah Castile. He used to bet back in the day, without a doubt. Oh my.
1990, Dave Stewart signs a record contract with Oakland, $3.5 million per year. 93, the Bills beat the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game. Cowboys beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Cowboys rolled the Bills in the Super Bowl. 95, the Rams announced that they're moving to St. Louis. Now they're back in L.A. 96, Steve Yzerman scored his 500th career goal. 97, the NBA suspends Dennis Rodman. Remember when he kicked the cameraman, Joe? That was that time. 99, the Falcons upset the Vikings 30-27. I still can't believe, Joe, that the Vikings lost that game and robbed us of what would have been a great Super Bowl, Vikings-Broncos. Instead, Elway got to stomp the Falcons in Miami in that Super Bowl and destroyed them in it. We're back, hour 3, coast to coast next.